All right, welcome back to the Rain Brings Growth podcast. We're here with Chase and Kassie Frogley. How's it going, guys?
Good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, it's been cool. It was really cool how you guys just reached out, and then to find out that you guys are a local company too, and then we have a lot of similarities together. It's kind of crazy how it all brought us together.
Yeah, seriously.
But
I think that's what's cool about being, local, is that everyone loves, Boise, because it's like once you make some networking connections and everything, it's like, oh, that person knows that person, and it's just so easy.
Such a small world.
Yeah, to get connected. But yeah, I mean, being local business is fun because you get to meet people like yourself and then get connected, and you're like, dude, Matthew's freaking awesome, and then here we are on the podcast, which is
right?
Nuts.
Yeah, that's the power of social media. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I never thought I would say like, oh, I'm a social media guy now, but like
But you are.
go with the times.
Yeah.
Like, back in the day, everybody used to put ads in the paper, and now you're a YouTuber, right?
Same thing, just different platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's free.
And it's
Yeah.
free. That's right.
You don't know who you're gonna reach and whose life it might affect. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's the cool part.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the first time we've ever had 3 people in here, so it's kind of a cool thing. And we're just gonna run with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just start. Usually we start from like the beginning, where you guys grew up. Are you guys both from the same area, or?
Yeah, so we both grew up here in, Meridian, and we did attend the same high school. We weren't friends.
We grew up on like literal opposite sides of the track.
Well, high school.
Rocky Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Like, I went to Eagle freshman year because Rocky wasn't built yet, and then my sophomore year, I transferred over there
That
because it
tells
was
you how
across
old
the
we
street.
are. We're old.
Old. I mean,
What year did you graduate?
2011.
Oh, me too.
Oh, see, so
See?
you're old too. It's fine. We're all
I was in
old.
Meridian High School, so
Oh,
yeah, don't
yeah.
listen to her.
Yeah.
We're not old. We're in our prime.
yeah.
That's how I see it.
I feel like I am. Like my 20s.
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
20s were trash. Who cared about
I got
that?
trashed in my 20s. Now I feel great because I stopped all that.
Well, so coming back to us being in high school together, we weren't friends.
We didn't
She
like each
was mean, and
Yes.
I was nice, and she ignored me. And that's the story. So
That's-
don't let her tell any other version. I was the nice guy. She was mean to me, and I never talked to her ever
Don't they
again.
say like when the girl's mean to you, they like you though, or something?
Yeah.
Or
But it was like...
It
It wasn't like-
cute, nice. It was like she's mean to me.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, she's teasing me, like elementary type thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
we're in high school. Like, you're not really doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And, like, it was just blatantly ignoring me. So
Dang.
it wasn't like, oh, yeah, she likes me. She's
Wasn't
digging
true.
me. No. No. I said hi one time because we rode to school together with this other girl who was, like, on her soccer team. And so we rode together to school. We never talked because this girl just had the radio like blasting so loud. So I was like, hey, we ride to school together every day. So I saw her as I was coming out of the football stadium from practice, and she was going in because she played soccer. And I was like, oh, like, I'm going to say hi to Kassie. Like, we're probably this far from each other. I know she heard me. It's not like, oh, I didn't hear you. I was like, hey, Kassie. Looks right through me and just walks off. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm never talking to you again. And I didn't. I never talked to her ever again. So that was that.
Yep. Yep.
And now we're married 10
Now
years
we're-
later.
Yep.
3 kids.
Careful who you hate.
Yeah, that should be nice to everyone. Take that advice.
No,
See-
Chase's dad was a cop. My dad was a drug dealer. So that's kind of like Chase grew up in a really good family. Lots of siblings, good parents, faithful people. My parents are great. They were great. They did the best they could. They had terrible childhoods. But yeah, my dad, I still remember, and I was like preparing myself for this. I was like, man, I got to tell the story about when bodybuilding first came out. They had this tiny little store in a strip mall. And I still remember as a kid going in there with my dad. My dad was super into lifting, bodybuilding, the shows, everything. And Chase's dad was into powerlifting.
He competed in powerlifting.
Yeah, so we
competition.
both had that kind of in common. But we would go to the bodybuilding store, and it was literally like the size of this room. It was like a closet, like just compared to what they've built. And I still remember they would have these figurines of these shredded, like, physique. And my dad would always be like, that's what I'm going to look like. And I was like, that's scary, first of all. But I remember you could buy like.
But he got pretty close.
But he was pretty close.
He got pretty close.
You could buy like the 10-pound protein bags.
Yeah.
Back then. And I remember he broke the shelf in our pantry because he had like 5 protein bags and like creatine and like all this stuff. My mom was so pissed. She was like, are you serious? Like it just like one day it was just like, and all of it fell. And my dad was like, yeah, sorry about that. Like, but
sacrifice for the gains.
Sacrifice for the gains. Sometimes it happens.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So yeah, we grew up on definitely opposite sides of the track, but my dad really was the one who was super active, got us into it. My sister competed. My mom eventually competed, but
in bodybuilding.
Yes, yeah. My sister's an IFBB pro, and she's gone really far and done a lot of stuff with it, and loved it. She doesn't do it anymore. And my mom competed for a few years and did really well and loved it. I personally would never do it, but I obviously respect the dedication because it's crazy. And to see someone go through it, like especially when it's like 2-3 weeks out and you're like, first of all, you're like, thank goodness we don't live together, because I would go crazy because they're not eating carbs. And you're like, literally your brain is like shutting down. You're not eating any carbs, not any fat, and you're working out for like 3 hours a day. I can't be around you. Anyway, so
I remember when her mom was competing.
Respect it, but I'm like, man,
she was like a different person to be around.
Yeah,
there's like a bunch of people at 3D right now. They're 2 weeks out from a show
gosh.
here in Idaho, and they're just looking like they're hating life. They look really good.
They look great.
I talked to one guy. He's like, my coach gave me 2 rice cakes before my workout, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, yeah, admire the dedication. Like I wouldn't do it either personally.
The other part that sucks, though, is how much food you have to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the flip
I'm
side
on that
of it.
part right now with my coach of like 4,400 calories a day, and it's all clean calories, like chicken and rice and beef and green beans. And
he's trying to stomach all that down.
Cannot eat
it's
anymore.
He's like, if you wait till you're hungry, you're behind schedule. I'm like, oh, God.
You're like, okay, well, I'm never hungry, so I'm always behind schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember when her mom was competing, and like during her prep and stuff, she's like the sweetest Asian lady ever. And when she was in prep, she's like a different person. She was so mean. She was like, okay, Chase. And I'm like, okay. And I'm the favorite. And I'll say that proudly. I know I'm her favorite. And she still was mean to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing that.
So how far out of high school did you guys get together then?
A few years, 3-4 years.
So graduated in 2011.
Lived in Peru for a couple years.
Yes, lived in Peru for 2 years. And when I came home, I just needed to kind of change of scenery. Like, didn't really want to just do the same thing that I was doing, like, after you graduate high school, same buddies, just whatever. Mm-hmm. And so my sister and brother-in-law lived in Arizona at the time, and he was like, hey, just come down here, I'll give you a job. I was like, sweet, free room and board and a job, and it gets me out of Idaho for a little bit. No offense, obviously we love Idaho, we're back, but moved down there, and it was my first Christmas home, and so I was like, well, I'm obviously going to go home, spend it with my parents and everything. So came back, ran into Cassie at the Fred Meyer on Chinden, like the deli. Like me and my buddies were getting a drink or something, and I saw her sitting there, and I couldn't remember her name because it had been so long. I was like, man, what was that girl's name? Probably because she was so mean to me.
You would think
I
you
blocked
would
it out.
remember your high school bully's name.
Yeah, block out the trauma. Yeah. I don't remember.
Sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, I'm like, don't know who that is. But yeah, for like the life of me, I couldn't remember her name. But I looked over and caught her checking me out. Don't let her deny it because she knows it's the truth. Because her face immediately went red, and she just looked down on her phone. And I was like,
so embarrassed.
Got her. And I was like, I'm going to say hi as we leave, even if I don't remember her name. And she would not look up at me. And I was like, okay. And then as we were leaving, then I remembered her name. I was like, oh, that was Cassie. And then we ran into each other again
At the gym.
at the gym. Apparently my buddy, his mom was like best friends with her mom. So he went over and said hi. And I was like, dude, how do you know them? And he was like, oh, my mom's best friends with her mom because they like compete together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, small world. But I didn't want to be, the gym douche that tries to like pick up a chick at the gym. So I was like, I'm not going to say anything. So I ended up going back to Arizona, but I added her on Instagram because her account was private. And yeah, we just started chatting. And then she called me a player, which was not true. And then I was like, well, I guess you'll never know unless you give me a chance. Sent her phone number over in the DM right after that.
We were married like less than a year later.
She must have saw something she liked.
Yeah, your muscles were nice.
Yeah, they're okay. I think I'm better now. Prime, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny when you hit your 30s that like everything starts to like make sense? Where you're like, hey, this doesn't feel good anymore. Like, let's stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like, partying, drinking it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like on, what's that movie? Where
Not that
like,
we ever partied and
I
drank.
know, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean? What's that movie where he's having, oh my gosh. He's throwing a party and he's like, yeah, I actually think I'm going to go to Home Depot tomorrow.
Oh, it was Will Ferrell. I don't remember the movie, though.
Oh, is that old school?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And he's like, and the kid is like early 20s and he's like, what? And he's
Frank
like,
the Tank.
Yeah, Frank the Tank.
And I'm like, I feel that so much now. Like,
But I think,
I don't want to be tired for the weekend.
like, bringing it back to, like, fitness, though, is, like, I feel like when, you're in your 20s, like, you feel invincible. So, like, you take whatever you want, whatever's popular on the market at the time. And, like, you see all the Olympians like Chris Bumstead and, Jay Cutler and all these guys that you've kind of, like, idolized. Yes, thank you. Coming up in the industry. And you're like, dude, like, a part of you that you're like, I'm never going to look like that, ever. And because I just, there's certain things you don't want to take to even try to look like that. But I think when you watch them, you're like, man, if I just do what they do, like, I'll look as good as I can, right? But I think that, you go through your 20s and you just kind of, like, follow that. And I don't know if it's necessarily, like, uneducated when it comes to, like, fitness or lifting. I think you just kind of, like, go with the trend. And I think that when you hit your 30s, to Cassie's point where it's like things start to make sense, you kind of like, you learn that certain lifts or certain things, you're like, I don't really need to perform that lift to get the results I'm looking for. Or like, that kind of hurts my back. Like, I don't need to do that anymore, right?
The risk to reward ratio.
Yes. And so it's like, it starts to make sense because instead of just like, oh, full send every single workout and like that's how I get results, it's like, okay, well, if I pay a little bit more attention to my nutrition, since I'm getting older and it's not as easy to stay trim, so it's like, okay, I got to pay attention to that. But then in the gym too, you're kind of like, okay, I don't have to do these things that, all the guys I watch on YouTube do. It's like, I need to do the things that make sense for like my physique and my body. And that might be avoiding certain lifts altogether, And it's crazy that as you get older, if you allow it to be that way, that you're like, oh, like if I just do these things that work for my physique, because everybody's different, that you're like, oh, see way better results than I ever did doing full send in my 20s, just slamming weights around.
Yeah.
So did you grow up here? Like your whole life you've stayed here locally?
When I was like 12 or 13, I don't know, between 9th and 10th grade, I moved out. Okay, so now I went to 7th grade in Utah, all the way to kindergarten to 7th grade in Utah, and then we came up here to live. And then my dad got divorced when I was at the end of 9th grade year, and I went to go live with my mom in Utah for my like 10th grade, and then 11th grade, half of that, or I don't know. Yeah, it was like half of 10th grade year, and then then all of 11th grade, and then I came back to Idaho for my finally. I was like in 3 different high schools in 4 years.
Jeez.
And then for my adult life, yeah, I've been all in Idaho.
So you probably remember like, because we were like since we're like the same age, we were right there when like bodybuilding started to do those shows, the expos, and that was like the thing to be at.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what was fun about growing up in Boise is that you got to see all of that. And you were like literally on the cutting edge of supplements because bodybuilding was like the sole, at that point, like the sole provider of supplements. And so it was really fun to see that. But then at the same time, like I was thinking about this today where we were taking like C4 when we really didn't need to be in the first place.
Or Jack 3D. Original formula.
But also, if you read the back of the label, C4 used to say, take this for 2 weeks, and then you need to cycle off for 2 weeks. Did we ever do that? No. We never stopped taking it. We were like, psh, I don't need to stop taking this. And we were like, 17, 18 years old, taking like 300 milligrams of caffeine, plus whatever else was in it at the time.
More like 400.
Like horse's hair or whatever BS they were putting in it that they were like, oh yeah, this is
that
great,
has
whatever.
a lot of benefits now, they've said.
Yeah.
Especially if you snort it. It's great.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And like to think about, like, we used to take that. And so it was like, even like some of these other companies that obviously I won't say their names, but we used to take them all the time. And I think what people don't realize is like pre-workout is not a one size fits all. Like if you're trying to accomplish this, this is great for you. If you're trying to accomplish this, this is great for you. But I think our like advantage over other companies in a lot of ways is that we grew up in the era of bodybuilding and bodybuilding.com and doing shows, and Chase and I both had a lot of exposure to it. And I think that really helped us in terms of like wanting to step into this, but also knowing like we don't want our kids growing up thinking that you should be taking this stuff or that it's okay to take this stuff or even take it in the first place, right? Like, do you actually need this? No, you don't. Or could this help you? Yeah, absolutely, take it, whatever, right? But I think now that there's so much more education and so much more like, just like how we were talking about, I remember going into that bodybuilding store with my dad and seeing a picture of Jay Cutler, this huge poster of him, and he was wearing a shirt, so it was just a photo, like, focus on his legs, and I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like, legs look like that? Like, people have legs that look like that, and that was before, like, tons of photo editing. This was like a pretty raw photo, and my dad being like, yeah, that's the goal. Like, that's Jay Cutler. And I still, to this day, was like, I know who Jay Cutler is because I'm like, those legs. I still have that image of his legs in my mind.
They were that nice.
But they were that nice. But now we know, like, okay, these guys aren't just, like, taking protein and creatine and all of the safe things that you can find at your local nutrition shop, right? Like, these guys are actually, and I think to Chase's
they're like
point,
the 1% of
they're
like
also
elite
the
athletes.
1% too, where all these people go and they compete and they think like, oh, I look really great, which they do, right? But I think what sets them apart from Olympians is genetics, and I think that's not talked about enough. Is you probably won't look like Sebum unless you do this, this, and this, and also go back and change your genetics too. And that's also why he's won 5 years in a row, 6 years in a row, however many years in a row he's won, and he's finally retiring and he's like our age. I'm like, that's insane, right? Yeah. Whereas you before had like Arnold and all these other old school bodybuilders who didn't stop till they were like 40s, mid 30s, like closer to 40. And then you're like, oh, no wonder these guys are like getting jacked so fast and now they're retired. Right. Like, that's crazy. But also just like the lifestyle of what it was like. But we also didn't know back then too that, it's just kind of like recently come out that there's photo editing, that there's, ways to look better with downlighting. And like everyone has access to those resources now. Whereas before it was just the big names, right? And so I think there's a lot of that goes into like kind of this like bodybuilding supplement world that we live in now, is that everyone thinks they can get to that level. And I think that that's kind of a scary thought, is that everyone thinks that they can. I think there's just a lot of like, we know the fitness industry, there's just a lot of misinformation because whoever's providing the information obviously wants to skew it in favor of like, come over and let me educate you on well, it's all about influence, right? Like they were the very first influencers. And so now it's like
in the magazines.
yes, totally. Like, and well, to my point too is then you look at like Sam Sulek and you're like, oh, I can eat Lucky Charms and 3 gallons of milk a day and I'm gonna look like that guy. It's like absolutely not. Like, let's talk about that for a second, you know. But it's because the guy has crazy genetics.
Yeah.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things, right?
Yeah.
That
But,
we won't say, but
like, coming back to Cassie's point of, you know, kind of the wild, wild west of supplements, like back when we were in high school and stuff, like, that's what really pushed us. Like, I've always had a passion for supplements. Like, you know, with these other companies, when they would come out with, like, something new, you know, a new type of pre-workout that had, like, a certain ingredient or something that they were promoting, I was like, ooh, I want to try that, you know, see if it is different than what I'm currently taking. So I've always had that passion because I like to try the new ones and see if they actually do anything, you know? And so having that passion for it, but then realizing, like, as we talked about, as we get older, it's like, I don't want to be like jittery out of my mind in the gym. Like, I want to have some focus. Like, I want to be focused on my workout and not, you know, somewhere else mentally. But also, like, I want ingredients that are going to be in there that are actually going to fuel the workout, not just make me feel high as a kite, you know, with all this caffeine and proprietary blends of whatever's actually in there. We
it's
don't
just
even know.
like we used to buy, like, people would literally buy pre-workout from Walmart, not knowing, like, the reason why it's only $20 is kind of a scary thought. Do you actually know what's in it, right? And really, there's no. What's the scariest thing for us too is when you walk into this space. First of all, you see how easy it is to get into it, and second of all it takes is really good marketing to be front row center in stores like Walmart and big retailers, Amazon, whatever. And I don't think people realize that is that, like, no one's testing these products. No one, and even like NSF, if you're NSF certified, you're only NSF certified because you paid for it. Not because, like, I mean, yeah, your product does, you know, definitely has to pass these standards, but it's also just like a huge marketing ploy to say, well, you know, we can put this stamp of approval on our product. But it's like, do you know what's really in these products that don't have that? And it's on, you know, shelves that, you know, 15, 16-year-olds can go and buy. Then you're kind of like, what's going on here? Like, there has to be some sort of regulation where it's like, you got to be more educated on what's actually in this. And I think that that's a huge misconception, is that people think, oh, it has green tea extract, that's healthy for you, it's natural. Well, actually, green tea extract is terrible for you, and it's very cheap. And the reason why a lot of companies put it in their products is because you can say, oh, guess what? We're all natural. We have all clean ingredients, but really it's a terrible product. And it's really cheap, and that's why they put it in there, right? So I think,
Like, our first version of our pre-workout Primal Charge had green tea extract in it. Like, before we brought it to market, obviously, but just when we were, like, working on the formulation and, like, sampling it. And it's just, like, compared to, and, like, people wouldn't know, right, unless you've tried something else in place of that ingredient specifically. But, like, after subbing it out and increasing some of the other ingredients in our product, like, the difference was very noticeable. That you're just like, it's kind of a junk product, right? And then you kind of research green tea extract anyways, and, like, not to, you know, just go into that and beat a dead horse about it, but, like, it is a cheap ingredient. And, like, even talking to my guy who helped me formulate it with the manufacturer, he's like, yeah, everyone kind of does that because it's cheap.
and he steered us away. He was like, just leave it. Like, it's fine. Just leave
This
it.
is just like a caffeine.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
for the caffeine source. So he's like, yeah, just leave it. Why change it? Because now you're going to have to go back. We're going to have to reformulate. You're going to have to pay another X amount of dollars to do that. Plus, we can't send it to you without you trying it first. So then we got to send you samples. So it actually delayed us quite a few months from our original launch date. We had to put more money into it, but we felt super strongly about it that we were like, no, we want this out of here.
Well, we just wanted, like, a more premium ingredient and a more premium product. Where
Right,
it's like
and then on top of that, it was going to cost more. The product itself was going to go
per unit.
per
And
unit,
it's
yeah.
like, we made that sacrifice because we're like, I want something better. Like, I don't want to just come to market with, like, another pre-workout that's, like, essentially the same as everybody else. And so it was like we were trying to make something different. And that was kind of like our whole mission behind like starting the supplement company was like, let's do this different than everybody else. Like, could we have easily formulated a pre-workout that was just like tons of caffeine, tons of nootropics, whatever, and just get you like buzzed and present it to like more of like the bodybuilding-esque community of the fitness industry? Yeah, because it's gonna hit. Like, those guys love that stuff because it's like gets you in the gym, gets you that kind of like buzzy feeling where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna freaking slam some weights around, you know? And like those guys love that because I was in that same boat like when I was younger. It was like lift heavy weight, slam weights around, get praise. It's gonna get me freaking jacked up, you know, to get in the gym. And so it's like to formulate something like that, it's not hard. And to make it appealing for that like segment of the fitness industry, it's not that hard to do. You know, good marketing, get those guys a buzz. Like, it's pretty easy. But that's why we were like, let's formulate something that's different and applies to more parents and people that like have a passion for fitness, love being in the gym, but they don't really like that feeling. Like, they like being alert and like ready for the gym, but they don't want to be like cracked out, you know?
Overstimulated.
Right. And so we were like, let's build something that's for like hybrid athletes where it's like you have an option of kind of how you want to dose it, where it's like, if I'm going to go for, you know, more of an endurance long run, or I'm going to like do some sprints or whatever, because I like being more mobile and functional, I don't want a ton of caffeine. I don't want that in my system when I'm already pumping my heart high, you know? So it's like, okay, let's formulate something that someone can take like one scoop and be like, okay, like I'm not noticing like, oh my gosh, I'm so awake, but it's like, I'm alert, I'm ready, and I can go perform at the gym or whatever like exercise I'm going to do. But then if it's like, okay, well, I'm going to strength train, it's like, okay, well, I'll take 2 scoops because then it's going to increase the nootropics that we put in it and the caffeine increase. So you're like, okay, now I feel a little bit more like alert to go like push some heavy weight. And so it's a lot harder to kind of push a product like that because you're trying to find this like small niche of people that are kind of that balance of people that are like, I am a pre-workout person, and then the person that's like, I'm not typically a pre-workout person, you know? So you're like, I'm trying to like bring that together of parents that don't want to like come home and feel crashed out, where it's like, yeah, I had a great lift because I was like buzzing on this pre, but now I'm home and I'm like, holy crap, I'm exhausted. Now I need an energy drink to like get through the rest of the day, you know? So it's just like this never ending cycle of like taking a pre-workout that's way too much, crashing after the fact, and then needing another caffeine source to make it through the rest of your day. And so we just didn't want to do that. We didn't want to do the same thing that, you know, a lot of other fitness supplement companies do. And so that's kind of like what drove us to be like, hey, let's do something different and do something might be a little bit harder to break into because you kind of have to like educate people and inform them of like, hey, this isn't your typical pre. You know, it's different. This is more for like functional hybrid athletes, parents that love the gym, have that, you know, passion for it. And sometimes it's just your happy place too, which I think for yourself and us, as we understand having young kids, but, you know, kids that are also autistic, where it's like, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of time. And so when you get that break to go to the gym, you're like, I can finally lock in and do something where I don't have to be worrying about like, where is he? What's he doing?
Is he safe?
Yes.
Is he hurting someone else? Is he hurting himself? Like,
Right.
all of the things that you worry
So
about.
we just want to do this different.
So it's
and-
funny because Chase is like very much like the supplement guy. Like, this is what I want in it. And then on my end, and this is why I think we work pretty well together most days. Most days we work pretty well together. Is that for me, it was about the messaging. And I wanted, you know, we both agree on this, but we wanted to send a message that working out and taking care of yourself is not selfish. Actually, the selfish thing to do is not take care of yourself, right? And so really we wanted to send a message to parents that this is a product, obviously, that we care about and that we want parents to know about. But we also wanted to give them the message and the support of this is not a selfish thing. Taking care of yourself is vital to be a good parent. And whether that's like you go to the gym and you walk on the treadmill and you walk the whole time. I don't care what you're doing so long as you are taking time to yourself and getting that headspace. And like Chase said, but really for me, it was him on the product, but for me, it was the messaging. Like people need to know that they can be great parents, but they need to take care of themselves. And like, it's not just about here and now where we're like, oh, we're in our 30s, we're in our prime. It's also like, what's going to happen? Like, especially in our situation where when we turn 50, 60, and our son is 30, are we going to be able to keep up with him? Are we going to be able to take care of him? But we never took care of ourselves when we were younger. So now that we're older, like, are we going to be able to, like, our biggest fear, and there is obviously no judgment to parents who do this, but our biggest fear and deterrent is to put our son in a home and, you know, institutionalize him. Like, that's our biggest fear. And for us, it's like, okay, so that means we have to take care of ourselves, because if we can't take care of ourselves, there's no way we're going to be able to take care of a child like this, right? And so we've always been like, hey, you go take time for yourself, whether that's you go for a walk, you go for a run, you go chat with a friend while you walk. We don't care, right? But take care of yourself so that you can take care of this child, because it will require you for years and years to come, 30 plus years, 40 years. You know, we're only going to be in our 70s at that point. And then it's like, okay, we still have this child that's a grown adult. And, you know, we don't know what the future holds for our son, but we're pretty confident he's going to live with us for the rest of his life. And that's okay. But we also realize if he's going to live with us, we will be prepared to take care of him. And so we're going to take care of ourselves. But really, too, and even for our other children, we want to be able to take care of our grandchildren. We want to be the fun grandma and grandpa for the future, you know? And so it's not just for our son with special needs, it's for our other children, too. Like, we want to be part of their lives as much as we can. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, like, we're going to miss out on a huge part of life, right? And whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we believe in all of, like, the 4 F's: faith, family, fitness, and finance. Like, if you don't take care of yourself in all of those aspects, like, not only are you unhappy, but that spills over into your kids, into your family. And most of the trials we face in life are within those 4 things because we didn't take care of them. And we've gone through each 4 of those, I would say, to a pretty good extent, where we struggled. We struggled hard in our finances. We were broke as a joke for a while.
A long time.
We struggled in our fitness, where we weren't taking care of ourselves, and we were both like...
Hold on, I gotta clarify for the record. Just because we own a supplement company does not mean that we're, like, financially
No,
good.
it does not. No, yeah, get that right.
I think we're
still
more
in the
poor
startup
than we
phases.
were when we were poor. Does that make sense?
When we thought we were poor.
Yeah. But, sorry, I cut you off. But, yeah, whether you have, you know, a kid on the spectrum or not, I think just being a present parent, you can only be as good of a caregiver as you are caring for yourself. Mm-hmm. And, like, your messaging with that, too. Like, you know, educating these parents and being like, hey, you know, it doesn't take much to get going. Just be consistent. And, like, your story is so inspirational to us, too, is because it's like we try to find people
just
like yourself.
Exactly like that.
Because it's like they resonate with the message of, like, yes, we both share that commonality of, like, yeah, we have a child who's autistic. But we also resonate on the message of, like, you need to take care of yourself as a parent. Like, if you want to take care of your kids, autistic or not, like, you need to take care of yourself. Like, you need to have some time for yourself. And like Kassie said, like, being a little bit selfish with your time to take care of yourself, like, that's a necessary thing. Because if you don't take some time for yourself, you're not going to be a good parent, because you're going to be burnt out, exhausted.
But also like that being an example to your children. Do you want your children to think that it's okay to not take care of yourself? Do you want your children to follow that example of eating and not paying attention to what are they eating, or like, not taking care of their bodies, not taking care of their spirit, not taking care of their mental health. Like, is that okay for, like, are you okay passing that on to your children? And, I think the thing that stopped us in our tracks when it came to your story was that, first of all, we didn't think that anybody else got it like that. Was just like that video of you chasing after Wyatt, like, we felt it so deep to our core because not a lot of people understand that. And just this week, it's kind of funny that our son Nixon ran, usually we live in a cul-de-sac, and usually he'll just run to one of our neighbors' yards. And our neighbors all have great backyards, so he loves to go back there, play in there, whatever. And all of our neighbors are very aware of him. He's usually in his underwear, like, and to the naked eye, it's not a great look for parents to see, like, this kid, feral, you know what I mean? Like, running around in his underwear. But, we feel comfortable, and we have such great neighbors who are super understanding. So when they see him, they're like, there's the Frogley kid. He's autistic. He doesn't talk. Like, he's fine. He's, But this week, he went the other direction, and he ran into a yard.
He ran, like, all the way down the street.
Down the street. And he ran into a yard of a family we didn't know. And they were so great. But Chase and I kind of were reeling from that experience, thinking, like, it's always harder when it's someone we don't know, because then, we promise we feed him. We promise we take care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we promise that our house is, like, locked down and safe. Like, we have chains on every door. All of our gates have padlocks on them. Like, our kid is very safe. We clothe him. He chooses to take the clothes off, and we were kind of like, for a couple days after that experience, we were like, do they just, like, it's hard. You become so used to that being your normal, that like, him running off in his underwear, him doing all the things, that you forget to other people it's not normal. But
you kind of have, like, a reality check, because
yes.
It's like when you're mostly surrounded by, like, friends and family who, like, get it, it's like, whatever, like, that's just him, doing this thing, and that's fine. But yeah, I think when you get that encounter with someone new, and they're like, don't you call, like, CPS on you, and I'm like, no, you don't, like,
we're normal people,
we take care of our son, I promise.
I've got that comment before on some of the Instagram stuff I put of Wyatt. They're like, hopefully CPS never gets an Instagram. And I was like, come on over, dude.
Yeah, like, you'll see that I love my son. I take care of him.
Listen, spend 24 hours with him.
CPS would be taking notes on what they can tell other people. Lock down their house.
They're like, hey, this guy's got it figured out.
He's got it figured out.
Don't ever send me a message to come over here again.
Yeah.
But I think what really hit us was obviously the video, but what you said in the caption, which was, when I was trying to chase after him, I realized that I was slow. I was out of shape, and I couldn't keep up with him. And that was a huge reality check for you. And that's, we've never been able to articulate exactly why we're so passionate about working out. And most people think, oh, it's because you want to look good, feel good. And those are great things too. That's totally fine. But what you said was that, like, it was up to me to protect him and save him. And that was like, yes, that's exactly why we do this. Like, that's it, that you, like, nailed it. And I think that's why we were both like, whoa, this is someone who actually gets it and understands that, like, we have to stay this way and be crazy about the gym and all of the things so that we can protect our child. And it really bled over for the other kids too, is like, hey, if we need to take care of our spiritual or our fitness and our physical health, what else do we need to take care of in our lives that will bleed into our children's lives? And so that's kind of where, and just like you mentioned, like, you got baptized this last year, and, like, really, like, hitting your 30s, like, kind of, like, brings everything together where you're like, okay, this is kind of my time to, like, get my stuff together and start showing my kids how I want them to live. And so anyway, that's really what hit us, was like, and it's kind of funny, and I mean this in the best way possible, is that when you meet a special needs parent, most of the time, and it reflects, whether it's physical or emotional or whatever the case may be, there's definitely a stereotype, right? Where you're like, oh, she's a special needs parent. You can tell because she's overweight. She's mentally seems a little crazy, whatever, right? And so I think that when you're not taking care of yourself, and you can see in those people, like, she's not taking care of herself in whatever aspect, it shows. And you're like, well, yeah, because she has this child that she's constantly worried about. She has this child that's really demanding. And guess what? There's no resource for her to have time to herself. If she had time to herself, she probably would be able to take care of those things, right? And I think that most people just think like, for a long time, we didn't have anyone watch Nixon ever. Like family, friends, babysitters. It was like a struggle because we were just like, we felt guilty. We felt like, you're not going to be able to handle this, first of all, like constant screaming and crying, especially as a toddler, right? It's like a whole nother level. Like now he's in a great place where it's like, yeah, you can take care of him. He's easier than the other two. But as a toddler, it was like, oh my gosh, no one can take, And so you feel a level of guilt even asking for help. And so then you have these parents who you're like, oh, well, she's just a crazy special needs parent and they just don't care about themselves. And that's probably why they have a special needs child. It's like, no, I have this super difficult child that no one's willing to like break open and say, hey, let me help you and let me give you your time back. And I think that that's been the biggest thing for us is like, we recognize that in people. And when you see it, it's really just like, it breaks your heart because you realize like this person either wasn't taught this or they've never had the resource to take care of themselves. And I think that that's really part of our messaging is that we want people to know that it's never selfish and you should never feel bad. And everyone deserves it. Everyone deserves to feel good. And you shouldn't live like that just because you have different circumstances. That's our biggest.
Well, and I think that, like, that's where it brings in, like, it takes a team effort, right? Where it's like, it can't just be your wife doing it. Can't just be you. Can't just be Cassie. Can't just be me. It's like, you have to work together as a team. And really, it just kind of boils down to, like, how important is it to you? If it's not that important to you, which is fine. Everyone's got their own level of priorities, you'll find a way to like make it happen. And I think that because we've learned it's like, it's not easy to always get the gym time. It's not always easy to like get that time for yourself, like individually, but we know the benefits of getting that time. And so we're like, we will make it happen. And whether that's one of us has to sacrifice more than the other so that person can get that time, we'll do it because we know like this will benefit because I'm going to come home like a more patient dad and I'm going to be ready to be like, all right, let's take care of the kids. You go have your time now, So I think, it definitely, you got to work together because if you don't, it's not going to work. But
You wonder why like the divorce rate for special needs parents is like through the roof because there's always one that's like a default parent that is taking care of all of it. And again, it comes back to resource, right? Like for me, I was a stay-at-home mom for like 8 years and Chase would work all day. And then by the time he would get home, I would be like, I am going insane. And I felt like all the responsibilities on me. And if you think about it, like he was working like a 9 to 5, but he had to commute. So it was like a 9 to 6. And by the time he got home, he had like 2 hours with the kids where I had 12 hours with the kids. And I was just like, I can't, like something's got to give. Like this is too much. And really it came down to resource. Like we didn't have babysitters that we trusted. We didn't have family nearby. We didn't have the money to like pay the babysitter in the first place. But also in Utah, it was like he wasn't autistic enough for help and resources, but he was too autistic for regular classrooms and regular people who were untrained. So it was a big thing. And again, it came down to resource, and that's what a lot of these parents are lacking.
Yeah, I agree. I think kind of coming back to like being the example for your kids is like what are you teaching your kids through your behavior? Like what is your coping mechanism, right? Like everyone has one, whether it's like I find comfort in snacks or whatever it is, you know. And I feel like food's kind of like that's such a common thing because it's like I'm gonna go get a burger and fries. It's gonna make me feel better, you know.
And it does.
It totally does. Or like I'm gonna grab a soda or I'm gonna grab some chips.
Giant crumble sugar cookie.
No, that's too much. Yeah, Matthew's like, no, not
What's
a huge
yours,
cookie.
Matthew?
I think I just probably go to my phone too much.
Oh, that's actually yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, it's kind of like totally like it's an escape because you
Dissociation.
just doom scroll, you know, and you're just like, it's crazy to watch people like once they get on social media, you can just kind of see them start to like sink into it, and they're like,
Gone.
hey, like you can be talking to them and they don't hear anything you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, yeah, that's another coping mechanism, right? For like, oh, I had a hard day. I'm just going to like zombie on my phone, you know?
Right.
And so like, I think that too, like, I feel like that's a whole nother like conversation for another time. It's like social media and phones, being a parent, you know?
Or tablets for your kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
We had to really like hone back how much we gave Wyatt a tablet because we seen he was a totally different kid.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
And then even like the remote control for the TV, like, and we still use it as like a mechanism to like help. If we have guys something done, it's like, all right, just give Wyatt the remote for whatever. He's just gonna be high strung all day, but we got to get this done, and at least we know that he's gonna be safe upstairs in front of the TV. We got the camera on him, like whatever, but he's not gonna leave because he never gets this remote. So he's not gonna leave it. He'll come downstairs, get a snack with the remote still in hand, and then come back upstairs. But
he's like, I am not letting this go.
But we used to like. We fell into the trap of one year we got all of our kids tablets.
Yeah.
And then we just really seen like Wyatt, he just was a terrible, like just really high strung, and everything was really downhill from there. And so we're like, all right, we got to detox you for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we just hold it on we just hold it for like special occasions. Like he knows if he goes to Costco, he's in the cart, he gets mom's phone.
Yeah.
You know, like he just knows these things now. Or we go to a restaurant, he gets mom's phone.
Yeah.
But like, other than that, we try and really just hold on and wait, but they're so pattern oriented that they'll get whatever they want.
Routine.
You know?
They know.
Yeah.
No, we had that same thing with Nixon. Like he had his own tablet, and he was just like so glued to that thing that like he would take it into the bathroom with him and like just be in there like watching, you know, The Incredibles or whatever on Disney. And I mean, as guys, we do that too. We just look at our phone while we're going to the bathroom. But like, he just like everywhere. He wouldn't let it go. And same thing, like just a different kid. Like transitions are hard anyways, right? But it was like that much harder. And just like he would snap and get so frustrated at stuff so much faster. But like we did the same thing. We took it and he hasn't had it for like months. And it's been so nice. Like, yeah, he you know, we still let him watch shows on TV, but because he gets so distracted, like he doesn't actually sit there and watch it for that long. He just ends up like getting up and playing with toys, which I'm like, that's preferable. Like play with some Legos and stuff. And like we've seen the same thing that like taking that like transitions are so much easier. He doesn't like get as frustrated about things when it's not his way. But like coming back to like showing your kids like a coping mechanism, I think that it just comes full circle on like self-care, because it's like if your default is, hey, I had a hard day, or you know, whatever the situation is, and it's like go to a snack, go to a treat, or go to my phone and stare at that, like your kids may not always seem like they're paying attention, but like they definitely are. And so like for them to see this where it's like, oh, I had a hard day, like, Dad, can I have some candy? Can I have a snack? Like, they default to what they see you do because they're like, oh, that made Dad a little bit happier when he had a chocolate bar or whatever because he had a hard day. He was grumpy before that. Or, you know, he goes and stares at his phone for, you know, an hour, and it's like, oh, and then Dad came back, and I don't think you ever really come back like happier. I feel like your phone makes you more grumpy, but you know, if you came back and you're like, okay, I feel a little bit better because I just had like time to stare at my phone without the kids bugging me or whatever. Like your kid will be, hey, like, can I play my tablet after school? You know, it's like the same kind of thing where they're like, they're not going to tell you like, hey dad, I had a hard day. You know, typically kids don't necessarily say that, especially at like younger ages. They just default to what they see you do that makes you feel better. And so it's like, what example are you setting? And so like we try to do that as parents of like, hey bud, you know, if you do some workouts, it might make you feel better. And like in no way are we like crazy extreme fitness people where it's like, go do some workouts, you know, you're gonna be a super athlete. Let's freaking go, you know. It's like we're just like, hey man, maybe do like some air squats, or hey, let's go in the backyard and kick the soccer ball around, or let's go jump on the trampoline. Like trying to do something that's active that kind of shows them like, hey, like we go do this, we're having a good time, we're laughing, and all of a sudden, hey, I correlate activity and fitness, you know, being active to like, oh, that makes me feel better. And so then they start kind of programming that into their little brain of like, this equals that, instead of eating equals this, staring at my tablet equals this. It's like, oh, when I'm active, I have a good time and I feel better. And, you know, whatever happened that day really isn't that big a deal anymore.
Yeah, they make their own feedback loop.
Yep. So I think main point with that is like fitness company, good supplements that are going to like power that and fuel that mindset of, instead of just like, oh, pre-workout fuels my workout and that's it, right? It's like, no, this pre-workout is formulated to fuel your workout and push you through the rest of the day to have energy to be able to be that present parent that is setting that example for your kids. And so I think our message and branding is all that, is like, be an active, present parent. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, having that self-care. And if we can fuel that through good supplements that are going to help that, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I think all that too is, you know, it's not selfish to take care of yourself first. It's like an airplane. I always say, like, you got to take care of yourself first before you can take care of your kids, right?
Yep.
Like, you're setting that example for them.
Yeah.
So by you taking care of yourself, you're not going to take that stress out on them or your wife or your husband, whatever, right?
Exactly.
Like, so it's actually selfish of you not to take care of yourself in that regard, you know, like, because what version of you is going to show up at that point?
100%. Like, you totally know that, like, as a kid, you can reflect back and, like, dad came home and you're like, he's grumpy, you know, and you're like, I don't even want to be around him. You know, he's going to yell at me for something stupid, you know? But it's like, I think every kid has at least one memory, at least one, right? Of, like, your parents being grumpy, whatever it is. And so it's like, back then, like, self-care wasn't as like big of a thing, right? It was like more selfish then to be like, oh, you're gonna leave me with the kids and go to the gym, or you're gonna leave me and the kids to go, I don't know, whatever activities were more like, you know, popular back then of, you know, having time to yourself. But like now, it's like, we don't have to follow that trend, right? Like, we understand now that it's like, okay, taking care of yourself means dad comes home and it's like, dad's home. Like, cool, we're going to go play or we're going to go do something, because you're taking the time to take care of yourself so you can come home and be like the happy dad. So your kids aren't like, yeah, dad always came home grumpy, like whatever it is. And so, yeah, it's just crazy that, like, we're just now really like figuring this out as like a society. They're like, hey, if you just take some time for yourself selfishly, you're actually a better dad. Like, oh, that's wild, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
How old was Nixon when you guys started having questions of like the autism? Or just something was wrong? Maybe you didn't even know what it was.
Well, so with our first, he was actually apraxic, which means like there's like a slight delay or disconnect from the brain to like the tongue muscles, and so like
Mouth.
and to the mouth, so he couldn't really like pronounce words. So like he was
Pretty
like
speech
straight up
delayed.
like gibberish until he was 5, and we were like, something's going on, right? But like as family and friends, they're always like, you know, encouraging, and I'm the last of 7 to like
Yeah.
have kids, so they're kind of like, oh yeah, my son, he did that till he was 3 or
Yeah.
whatever. And so you just kind of like, you don't know any better as a parent, like whether you say you like knew or didn't, like you just are doing your best when you're a first time parent. And so basically we just kept kind of like pushing it off, like, oh yeah, no, he'll talk, he's being stubborn, because he was very intelligent, understood everything that we told him. But anyways, long story short, we ended up getting him tested, and they were like, hey, he's a praxic, so he physically cannot pronounce words. Like, you know, he could say dad or juice and like certain things, but he couldn't like form like a sentence.
Some of the blends, like the TH blend or the SL
Yeah.
blend, like some of the letter blends, he was struggling with.
Yeah.
And
So
he still does. He's
he-
8 now, and he still
Yeah,
struggles with.
definitely. Like he still does speech and everything. So like that's been a road in itself. But anyways, because we had like prolonged getting the testing done and like figuring out what was going on with him, that as soon as we like saw anything that seemed off with our second, with Nixon, we were like, there was no hesitation, because we're like, we're not delaying this.
Right.
But it was around 18 months, we started to see like some regression, where it was like started avoiding eye contact, you know, just some of those common signs where you're like, uh-oh, you know, and especially if you're first already had something, you're like even more hypersensitive.
I think the biggest sign was he would do the wrist.
Oh,
I think he would stim.
Yeah.
Yes, as super, super young, as like a small baby. Like when we'd put him in his high chair and he was still like using his fingers to eat. That was something that I was like, that's not normal. And I think that on a certain level, and probably you and your wife too, we knew something was wrong, but we couldn't quite pinpoint exactly or articulate it right. But one thing that he did that we like laughed about was he would, at that time he was in a pack and play, and he would do laps around the pack and play. And he was still crawling, but he would do laps, and we were like, that is so bizarre.
like just
he'd do,
these like repetitive
five
behaviors,
laps, and
so
then
I'm
he'd
like,
be good.
and then he was like,
we were
I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna have like OCD or something, like, because I have that. I'm like, everything has to be perfectly lined up, you know.
Yeah.
But like, joking aside, yeah,
Perfectly lined up. That's autistic.
she already
True,
says I'm
true.
autistic, and it's
Everyone
like
is.
I'm on the spectrum for sure. Like, I'm so weird about certain stuff, but like it, like we saw certain behaviors, and we were kind of like, let's not put this off. Like, what's the earliest we can test him? And it's not like we were like, we want to know what's going on. It was more of like, we prolonged the first one to get him services.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we'd gotten him into speech and occupational therapy and everything.
And there's a lot of guilt there that
Yeah.
we waited so long.
Because we felt bad, because we were like, dude, come on, we know you can talk. You're just being stubborn, kind of thing. And then there was so much frustration.
Well, then everybody else
with him.
around you is telling you like it's normal.
Yes.
Yeah, like, don't worry about it.
And it's your first kid, so you don't have anything
Yes.
to compare it against.
Exactly.
Yeah, nothing.
Exactly.
So, yeah, 1.5 years, and then at 2 is when you can actually get him like officially tested. And so we ended up getting him tested.
Oh, really? We had to wait till 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what they told us, is like,
I mean,
you
the
got to wait.
earlier the better. If you can do it,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, we were in Eastern Idaho. So rules are different over there. We didn't live there necessarily by choice, just so we all know. I mean, Eastern Idaho, it's got its thing. We were there for school, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, but so yeah, we got him tested at 2, and it was like, I don't know, a month after, where they give you like the official like diagnosis. And so they called us or emailed, I don't remember actually how we got it, but we were driving home from the store, and we got that news. They were like, hey, he's autistic, and like, he, you know, you're somewhere on the spectrum, and he was so young, they couldn't really like pinpoint him on the spectrum, like
Right.
where, you know.
They just go by milestones if they're missed or something.
And he was missing every single one. And
Yeah.
so anyways, we found out when he was like, when he was 2, and it's just like, and you can probably relate, and any other parent that's had to like go through that where they find out, it's like, it's kind of surreal at the moment, like that it happens, because you're like, all of your, as a parent, right? Like you want the best for your kids. You want them to achieve everything that they can achieve. Obviously, you have like your hopes and aspirations of like, he's going to be an engineer, whatever it is, right? The things you think of
him to
as...
the casino.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Have a Rain Man moment.
Yes.
Right?
He's going to be a card counter.
Yeah.
Like... But as a parent, you have those things where you're like, you start seeing your kids' personalities and the things that they're interested in. You're kind of like, oh yeah, he could do this, or he could be good at that, or whatever. And so it's like when you find that out, and like him being so young, it was like there was so many questions of like, what's he really going to be capable of? Is he going to live with us forever? Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a level of like, everything that you hoped or thought your child was going to do or achieve as a normal functioning child is like, it's gone. Or it's in
Right.
the air. It's a question. Like,
Yeah.
will he be able to do that stuff?
Yeah, I felt that too. I'm the only son, and so then I was like the last one to pass on my name, and then I have 3 girls and a boy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I only had 2 girls, and then our third kid, we were just like, it was gonna be a 3rd girl, and 3 strikes I'm out, or like we'll get blessed and we'll get a boy, right?
Yeah.
And so like I was so excited when we found out we had a boy, and then like I felt a lot of pressure on my shoulders, right? Because like I'm the only one that could pass on our
The
single name,
Yeah.
right? And then they tell us like he's autistic, and I'm like, I don't even know what our future looks like, because I just feel like a lot
Yeah.
of pressure, I'm like,
Right.
well, I don't know this, it's I remember we were in Snowbird in Utah, and then my stepmom, she's a psychologist,
Yeah.
and she was like observing him. I'm sure she was, as psychiatrists do, like
Yeah.
just sit back and observe, right? But respectfully, she was like, I think you guys should get something checked out, And my wife, like she said she wasn't, but she was very in denial. And I like could see some stuff because a lot of my friends have like younger kids, and like we had 2 kids by then too, so
Yeah.
they were milestones, and he wasn't responsive to his name, so I thought that was like the weird part.
Right.
So some of the comments people have put on my thing is like, oh, you should stop as soon as you call his name. I was like, okay, well, another argument for another day. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so that was kind of a scary part. I was like, oh, well, I have a lot of like weight on my shoulders for this moment.
Yeah.
As a son. And then it really scared me. I was like, I don't want to chance like having another kid, because I don't even know what I'm doing anyway.
That was huge. For
Like,
us, yeah.
so to have another kid after this is, nope, I'm not doing it. My wife was like wanting another one, and then there's contention there, and
Right.
luckily we were able to get him into like an infant to toddler program
Mhm.
until they
Yeah.
said he had to wait till he was 3 to get tested. So then like
Right.
from, I don't even know, I think he was probably like a year and 8 months, somewhere in there is when he started. So we had like good 14 months
Yeah.
of that infant to toddler, and they're like, well, let's just see if maybe we can get progress, and maybe he's just get those milestones. And they're like, no, when he hit 3, and then he's like, no, level 3, homie.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I was like, yeah, this is. And then when he was 3, that would have been 2023, and then right before. But my wife was like wanting another one, and I was like, I don't want another one. And I gave her like, it was like, you can't get 3.5 kids, right? Like there's either you have another one or you don't.
Yeah.
And it was like beginning of the year, and I was like, I'll give you till my birthday to get pregnant, because you got to come off of your birth control and everything. Like that'll take a little bit. And I was like, I was doing the math in my head. I was like, I think it takes a little while. So I gave her like 4 months until April. I was like 2 weeks later, she's like, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh gosh. I think you were taking sugar pills this whole time or something. Because the math ain't mathin'.
That's awesome.
Those are the times you like wish you weren't so fertile. You're like, oh, am I gonna be shooting some blanks or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because like I've never been able to grow like facial hair or anything, and then I went through my whole weight loss thing, and then I finally got my testosterone test, and now I was like I'm lower than an average female. I was like 170.
Oh boy.
And you should be like my doctor's like you should be between 500 and 800, and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
well, I don't know what's going on here, but I got 4 kids, so
Clearly something's still firing just fine.
yeah. So I was like, oh gosh, well that explains why I can't grow any facial hair or anything, but cool. But yeah, that was an interesting time when we had to go through all the testing, and I think my wife definitely came around to it. Like she's the biggest supporter now, and like takes him to all of his therapies, and she's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
And
Teamwork.
You do have to have that teamwork, yeah, because a lot of times, like you guys are saying, she'd be home with him all day long, and then that's when I was still working at the prison and stuff, and I'd go overnights too because I was on the prison bus, and so she would just have everything, and then. Yeah, but I mean, it is hard, just like you guys were saying, trying to go out with friends or people invite you over to their house. I don't know. My son's like really rambunctious, and they're like, "Oh, our house is childproof," and I'm like, I don't think
You don't understand.
like you can bring all your kids over here. That's fine. Like, and that's
If you have 10 kids, bring them over.
it ends up
Just come to our house.
Our house is always like Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything, and I'm like, I don't care. I just know that.
It's
When I'm
easier.
over at someone else's house for like a kid's birthday party or any kind of other event, like my wife and I are just on edge the whole
It's
time.
not fun.
Yes.
It is not fun. No.
No,
Not
like
enjoyable.
we're exactly the same. Like
Anytime we go on vacation and someone else is planning it, like my sister plans it or my
Yeah.
mom plans it, I'm like,
Rough.
send me the listing of where we're staying because I need to know. And we can't stay in a hotel. We have to have at least 2 bedrooms, and that sounds bougie of us, but I'm like, you don't understand. Like he's got to sleep in a particular way, and
well, he's got to sleep in a different room because if we're in the
just
same
can't.
room, he just won't go to sleep. And I'm like,
yeah, it's
now
like, just
no
like a
one's
whole thing
sleeping.
you have to like accommodate. And I think that was the biggest shocking, not really shocking, but like it's a
Thing you had
whole
to-
lifestyle
we had to,
change,
like,
right?
Adapt to.
Yeah, like we couldn't just like go on weekend trips at the spur of the moment. It was like, okay, what is it exactly gonna look like? What kind of car can we have? Like it was like he can't sit next to his siblings in a long car ride. We need a different car. Like he can't just, it was just like small things like that kind of like your whole life changes when you have kids anyway, and then when you have a special needs kid, it kind of amplifies everything else that you have to prepare for. Like you have to prepare for them to like for example, when we lived in Eastern Idaho, there was this park, and the park was huge, but it was on like a main street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, this park
no
is
fences.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like,
Very
this park is
cool.
awesome. And my other kids loved it, but I was like, safety wise, I had to leave Maya, who was a baby at the time,
Car seat.
like teeny tiny baby. She's like screaming, crawling towards me as I'm chasing after Nixon, who's like trying to run into the street. And I'm like, okay, this is the last time we come to this park. But like, you just don't realize like the planning and the thinking, and like you are always going through your mind of like, what's the worst thing that could happen in this situation? Like,
Because it might actually happen.
he might try it. He might
And
try
cautions that like you see that other parents wouldn't see.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Like
There's a
we're
creek over there, so
Well,
Yes.
yes, exactly. Well, when we were driving out here, and I was like, man, there's a lot of nice neighborhoods. And then we passed a neighborhood that had like a little cute pond at the front of it. And I was like, oh, never mind. We couldn't live there.
I know like there's some nice houses out in Star that like have
Yeah.
those big
Nice-
lakes in their
yes.
backyard, and I was like, that'd be sweet. My kid's like, that'd be sweet, and then my wife's like, that would be terrible.
Yes.
Oh,
we
yeah,
would
no,
never
you're right,
be
you're
able
right.
to relax ever
Yeah.
again.
You would never sleep.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I remember. I mean, like when we go on vacation and like we'll get like an Airbnb with like a pool in the backyard. I'm like, oh, this is sick, because like our kids love swimming. Even Nixon like
Yeah.
loves the water,
They love water.
but like he'll wake up before us, right? And then he's just like outdoor, and then he's in the pool at like 7 a.m. And I'm like, bro. I'm gonna be a statistic. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna end up drowning. And so like, I remember we had a work event one time, and they had a huge man-made lake in their backyard with like a water slide, coolest freaking thing ever to have on your property.
Yeah.
And like we're surrounded by all my coworkers, all the families, everything. Dude just dead
Walked.
sprints,
Just
like
walked right
runs
into
right
it.
into the water, and like I had to dive in the middle of everyone and like rip him out of the water from drowning. Just like, people just don't understand, like no safety awareness. Like,
Yeah.
this is bad. I don't know how to swim. probably shouldn't get in. Like, nah, just water, cool, I'm getting in. Save me, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the biggest thing that I've been thinking about lately is there's like this, I don't know if it's a theory or what they call it, but like the glass door kids.
Yes.
And it's like the kids that are or just normal, I guess, whatever, neurotypical, right? Is that
Yeah.
what they call them, right? Yeah, and then they like feel like they're forgotten, right? And
They're
spending all your time.
What is it like? They're there, but you always see through them.
Yeah.
Like they're always there, but you see something like that. I've heard that term
Yeah.
before.
So I'm like trying to be, because I definitely like detaching from this situation and looking out. Like I definitely do focus a lot more on Wyatt than any of my other kids.
yeah.
And like you have to too, but like trying to find that time to make sure that they don't have resentment later on, and,
Totally.
and it's not their fault.
Right.
They don't have to have, you know, it's not like it's anyone's fault, but
Right.
trying to still remember that in the time of like I need to go spend time with them and make sure like planning a night like daddy-daughter night or something. And,
Yeah.
and you know, but then it comes back to like we can't have both my wife and I go out at the same time with the older girls unless we
Right.
have someone that's gonna watch them, and then like, you know, who's gonna come watch them?
Yeah.
And there's not like anybody that's qualified. You can't just call up an autistic babysitter. Which
Yeah.
I always told my wife, they had like a drop-off center that was like they have, you know, was that the sensory place downtown?
Oh,
But if they
yeah.
had like just locked down and you could like
Oh, yeah.
they charge you by the hour or something.
You're like,
That'd be sick.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Have like
be
live
awesome.
webcams you can log in. You can watch your
Yes.
kid if you want to,
Yes.
but like that'd be sick.
Why don't we just start that?
There you go.
Because I don't
Another
really want to be
business venture.
responsible. for
But
that.
also like I'm not good with other people's kids. either, so
Yeah.
I love my kids, but like a lot of other
So true.
a lot of other parents don't give their kids like boundaries, and then you know,
Yeah, no, I get it.
I love kids. But I
I
don't
love
wanna-
the well-behaved ones.
I like my
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we get
I
that. I think about that a lot too, and I feel bad because a lot of the times I'm like, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna have to go home early from this." Oh, why? Well, Nixon is overstimulated. Hey, we probably shouldn't do that. Hey, can you go do this instead? You know, all of the things that I'm like, hey, can you just let Nixon do this, or can you let Nixon play? You know,
It's-
that we make all of these rules that we say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, but
we
then
make a lot of decisions that
based
revolve
upon.
around.
Well, and same
him.
thing. Like, I'm sure Easton, our oldest, and Maya, our youngest, would love for us to take them out, just the two of us, right? And it's the same thing. It's like, okay, but who's watching Nixon?
yeah.
You know? And then it's like, our kids miss out on that time. So yeah, one of us will go, but it's the same thing. Like these, like, how are our other children going to grow up, like, with this really unique childhood of, well, I had a special needs brother that we really had to accommodate for. Even us as children, like, you know, we had to accommodate certain things that none of my peers had to accommodate for. And even though they say that there's more autistic children, and really I don't believe that in terms of like there's more autistic children, and I more believe that there's more resources, and we've had these autistic children all along. It's just that now we have resources to test them and they're being put on a spectrum. But, you know, now even with all these other autistic diagnosed children, our other kids still don't have peers that have childhoods like them, where they are worried about the safety of their brother, right? Like every so often Nixon will get out and we can't find him for a solid 10, 15 minutes, and we're all kind of in panic mode. And
It's
I can't,
scary.
and
Yeah.
I can't really say that there's a lot of kids, my other kids' age, that ever have to worry about that. And so for them, we wonder about that a lot too, is like, what's life going to be like for you when you get older? How is this going to affect your relationships and your parenting when you get older? You know, because we do make a lot of exceptions for Nixon, where it's like, well, you know, he and I will say some of it is sometimes out of laziness, because we don't want to deal with a meltdown. We don't want to have to, you know, do the whole screaming battle and getting
Everyone's
kicked
staring
and
at
punched and, you know, all of the things like, hey, we're going to have to leave this early because Nixon hit a kid and the kid's crying, and it's a whole thing, you know?
Like the amount of events that we've like left early to accommodate like a meltdown or something, like I feel bad like for our other kids, because it like you know, I guess you could say a typical childhood, like both parents are present at a school function or activity or whatever, right? For the most part, or at least they try to be. And it's like to have to like leave because your brother's like freaking out and everyone's staring at you. Like, I try to put myself in that situation as like a child myself, and I'm like, man, this would be kind of traumatizing to be part of, because then you're like, oh, you're that kid with the crazy brother that freaked out at the fair or whatever,
or kicked so and so in the face.
Yeah,
kick him in the
kick
head.
that kid in the face, and it's like, you know, like how is that gonna affect our kids growing up? I mean, because it's we try to make it as like nonchalant as possible, like when these things happen, because I don't want our kids to see the level of like stress that we carry about those things when they happen. Like when he gets out and we're like, can't find him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this gonna be the time that we have to call the police because I can't find him?
Yeah.
Which we did buy one of those gizmo watches so I can live track him and call him, and like that actually came in handy just the other day. But like the level of stress that I've seen on my oldest face, like when I start to panic because we can't find him, which it takes a lot for me to panic at this point, but when it does reach that, like he's been missing for this amount of time, then I'm kind of like, okay, like now the anxiety starts to set in, and I see it on my oldest face when that starts to happen, and it just like, it hits me where I'm like, you're 8. You should not be having the level of anxiety of like, Dad, what if Nixon dies?
Yeah.
Because we can't find him. Or he ends up, you know, drowning somewhere. Like, I would have never had any of those thoughts at 8 years old.
And you shouldn't.
That your sibling's gonna
you shouldn't
die.
have those. You shouldn't be worried about that.
But
in
in a lot
the
of
end,
regards, they start acting like parents too. Like they'll run after him, or they'll get him down, and they'll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
Which is like, in a parent's eyes, like in our eyes, like it's nice to a degree that like they understand that level of like, Nixon starts to run out the door, like he's like, Dad, and then he chases him too.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's great, right? That your kids understand like Nixon doesn't know any better, and I'm gonna help.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, bud, like that shouldn't be something you have to worry about.
Yeah, in that video, my daughter was the first one to run out the street for Wyatt. Yeah.
Makes you proud, but also like it's mixed emotions a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that it's good that the autism is all in the news right now. Because I think it's gonna bring more awareness and hopefully more resources, and hopefully, you know, hopefully I don't think there's like a cure. I don't know if there's a cure or whatever. Like, I don't know if Tylenols are, you know, we just stop giving them Tylenol. But I mean, like once you're already dealt the hand, you know, you kind of just gotta adapt.
Yeah.
That's why people are like, oh, I mean, that's fine that you're blaming it on Tylenol right now, but I already got a kid that's autistic. So
I'm not gonna
I'm
fix
not
it.
any more kids. So
it's not fixing my situation, and now you're just gonna scare every pregnant person that they're never gonna take anything, because you can't take ibuprofen or aspirin, is what they say too. So you're like, so when I'm uncomfortable and I'm in pain, what am I supposed to do? Just deal with it.
Yeah.
just deal with it.
Yeah. So how do you guys try and market your supplements then to like that community? How do you get it out? I mean, it's not just for the autistic community, but like for parents. Like how do you hit that niche?
I'll go first, and then I'll let you go, because I know you want
She's
to
the
say something.
CMO, so I mean.
Yeah, I mean, your background's in marketing, right?
Yeah,
So,
he doesn't have a lot of choices in his CMO. He's like, she's the CMO. I'm like, you don't have a choice.
I could have picked somebody else.
I mean, obviously, whatever you're doing is working, because you only have like under 100 posts, and you guys have like 62,000 followers. So
I mean,
we try.
Something's working.
I mean,
we have a great ads guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cole. He's a great ads guy.
Timberline Marketing. Timberline Digital Marketing. I just plugged him. You're welcome, Cole.
We love you, Cole. You know, the biggest thing is our messaging. Right now we have ads that run that actually don't have any words, and it's really just us with our kids. And it's Chase coming home from the gym, me swapping him, and I'm in gym clothes, and the kids greet him when he gets home, and then I go to the gym, right? And really, like, pushing that, and then also, like, there's shots of us playing with the kids in the backyard, all of those things, right? So really, that's our biggest thing is, like, we want parents to know that this isn't selfish time. This is, and also trying to prove and show the example that we want to be. I think that parents, obviously, a lot of parents understand setting an example. And when you get married and you have kids and you start to see in your marriage, like, oh, you're the way you are because your dad was like that or your mom was like that, right? And I'm the way I am because my dad was like that or my parents. And so I think you start to realize that, oh, so what I'm doing now is going to pass on to my kids. So I think the biggest thing is that we, in our marketing and in our ads and all of our messaging is, first of all, being an example and taking care of yourself. Like, those are our two biggest things that we're like, hey, this is really important to us. And third, with Chase's component of, that's why we created a product where you're not going to feel bad about it when you take it. It's going to make you feel great. And that's why we have so many nootropics in it, is because we wanted the mental part and the mental focus of you getting that time away. It wasn't just about caffeine and, like, you know, like, we could have created a pre-workout like that and marketed to that crowd, but we didn't want it to be these parents hyped up on caffeine to come home from their workout, say that they get up at 5 a.m. to go work out. They get home at 6:30 in the morning, their kids are still sleeping, whatever. We could have given and created a product and said, okay, we're going to load it with caffeine, and then the second you get home, you're going to crash, and then you're taking a nap by noon. Whereas, like, no, our demographic needs something that gets them going in the morning, whether it's at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever time it is. It gets you going. You feel great. You get a great workout. But then, because of the nootropics and everything that's in it, you're getting, like, pumped and excited for the gym. But also, you're not just like, I'm crashing out. I think what people don't realize about nootropics and why it's, like, such a hot keyword right now is that people don't realize, like, nootropics are a little bit more expensive to put into products. Which is why you won't find a ton of products with it, but also because when you feel a crash or like you come down from a pre or even caffeine, and you'll see some energy drinks will have nootropics in it, is that nootropics actually block the brain receptors from making you feel tired or fatigued or like, oh, I need a nap. And so that was really the key component that we were like, we need something that has caffeine to get you started, but also has something that will last throughout the day so that you're not like, oh man, I'm exhausted, I can't go on with the rest of my day, or I need like 5 energy drinks. Because is that really taking care of yourself? Like, yeah, you're going to the gym, and I relate this to my dad as well, where he had a drinking problem, but he would work out every day, and he was shredded, and he was in amazing shape, and he would eat like so healthy, so clean, but he had a drinking problem. So it was like, is he really taking care of himself? Physically, he was like, looked great, felt great, you know, all of the things. But then it was like, okay, if we continue down this road, you're going to be on dialysis from liver failure and kidney failure from all the drinking that you do. So is this really...
Well, mentally he wasn't in good shape.
Exactly. So also, like, if you're mentally not there, is this really helping you? So really, it was kind of encompassing all of the aspects where we wanted to give support to parents, but we also wanted them to have mental clarity, but also feel pumped, excited, ready for their workout, where it's like, I look forward to the gym. I look forward to this time. And I look forward to coming home too. Not just, I'm excited for the gym and I don't want to face whatever's coming my way the rest of the day. So that's really what our messaging is. And we've gotten creative, and thanks to Cole, we've been able to incorporate some of that into our marketing. But that's really the biggest thing for us, is pushing on parents, and really, pushing on, you know, kind of like those beliefs, because we're still, I feel like we're still kind of coming out of like my mom and Chase's parents, where at their age it wasn't really like a thing to, first of all, it wasn't really a thing to work out. Like, lifting weights was for men only for like a really long time. And also, like, that aspect of like, what do you mean, like, taking care of yourself? Like, that wasn't really in their vocabulary at the time. And so I think kind of trying to break that down and say, taking care of you, taking care of your kids, taking care of your body, taking care of your kids. It's all encompassed into the same thing in all different aspects. So we want to hit on the health aspect of how you can take better care of you, but also better care of your kids. So that's kind of where.
Spoken like a true marketer, just like
Yeah.
breaking it down and like every little aspect of it. That's why she does what she does. I'll make it a lot more simple for everybody else.
Sorry. Now you wonder, people watching this are probably like,
Yeah,
they for sure were destined to have, it's definitely genetic.
They don't.
They were destined to have a special needs child
Well,
who's
and
super
they're like,
analytical.
they listen to like what you're saying and just like this like breaking down, because like she loves marketing, so she's like, yeah, this, and it's like
Do
everyone
I
else.
talk like that? This.
I mean, pretty much. It's pretty close.
Rude.
Like this part of the ad, and like everyone who's listening is like,
Whatever.
boring. Like, why are you doing what you're doing without saying all of that
Okay,
stuff?
go ahead. Then you say the right one.
Okay, so I don't even remember the question. That's how long
You
it
said,
took.
I said, where it all started because I asked you where you met Cassie, and then it all went.
Like downhill. Yeah.
Once we met, my life just took a turn for the worse.
My
I never even
life-
found out about what Cassie did out of high school. Or anything,
My
so
life
we just-
ended
we just-
as soon. Oh, here. If we
No,
let
it's okay. We'll stick to one question.
yeah. Well, if we let her answer the question, we'll be
It
here
will
like
be all
another hour.
Yeah.
few
I'm gonna
hours.
answer it for her, and then I'll answer your question.
Yeah,
I
go
can't
ahead.
remember what it was. Out of high school, she played college soccer, so athlete, better than me at everything, athletics, but I still find a way to beat her in soccer, and that's just because I'm faster, not because I'm good.
Yeah.
So she hates that because I'll just like sprint around and like kick it in. She's like, that's dumb. Like, go straight at me. You won't be able to take it in. I'm like, you're right. But if I run around you, I totally can shoot on goal. Anyways, super athlete. She's awesome. And that's mainly why we got married, is just because she's good at like
You need
sports.
the genetics, yeah.
Yeah. Like
Right.
everything else
Just
about
a
her,
mating partner.
personality,
Yeah.
like all that, I'm like subpar. Athletics, definitely up there. Okay. We can
Athletes.
create some awesome
Settled in some
athletics.
areas, reached in others.
Yeah. Well, then,
Answer the
this is
actual
how it
que-
like now look where we are.
Answer the actual question.
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Wait. Marketing.
Oh, she
How-
did pretty good
how
at
are-
marketing. So
Yeah, like how are we targeting
Yes, this
that key
specific crowd.
demographic? Yeah.
Oh, and
So
I
the
should
less
say
boring.
too,
Oh.
No, here
our-
I'll take over.
we sponsor youth athletics as well.
Yeah, we do.
That's one thing that we
Global
try to do.
Sports Academy.
It's local
We
here.
have a little like scholarship program with them, where certain athletes that maybe can't afford some of those like costly fees of being in a club, we donate the money, and then they kind of choose the athletes
nice.
that are like, hey, they can't really afford this, so they'll use that money to
Nice.
make sure they can play. So that's something we are really passionate about, because certain things that Cassie wasn't able to do or given when she was younger in youth athletics. I mean, I wasn't that good. I didn't play freaking club, nothing. It was like high school, you suck, and yeah. No, I ran track, played football, was way too small for football. I didn't hit a growth spurt till like senior year, and then I hurt my shoulder, so I didn't get to play. So that
I
was
played
a bummer.
golf senior year at Meridian, and that was it.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like decently fast. Like I was pretty fast. Like track, I was pretty good at. But senior year I got hurt, didn't play football, and then my track coach came and got me and was like, "We need you to like run this. We're gonna win state this year with you." And I was like, "Okay." So I went to all the workouts, all the lifts, and then like the first day of like sprinting, I went out there and beat mostly everybody, and then never went back for another practice. I was just so too lazy. Like senior year, I was just like, whatever, dude. I just want to hang out with my friends. So that was, I always look back at it. I'm like, dude, I probably could have got a scholarship. At least in my mind, I think I could have, but
Yeah.
probably wasn't as good as I think. It's easier to like reflect back. I was so fast, and then like you talk to anyone
Uncle
who I
Rico.
went, yeah,
That's exactly
like
what I was
talk to
thinking.
anyone who went to high school with,
Throw
they're
a
like,
pigskin a quarter mile.
yeah, Chase was like, he was okay, but he wasn't anything special. But anyways, coming back to your question, of like how we kind of like reach parents and like that niche group. I think it really, like Cassie said with like the ads, where it's like we're trying to depict what we actually do. It's not just like, hey, let's run an ad that we think would be appealing to this crowd. It's like, let's run an ad of like what we actually do. Like I feel like with social media, it's so easy to like portray this like persona of like, well, if we make everyone think we do this or look like this, then they'll want to do it. And it's like we don't want to do that. We don't want to do the traditional thing of like, let's look as cool as we possibly can. And it's like anyone can do that, and it's not, you set this unrealistic expectation of like what's unachievable, and it's like I don't want to do that. And I think that's why it's also a little bit harder, is because like social media, if you just look cool and you market right, yeah, you'll get the people you want to get. But I feel like when you try to make it so it's more realistic to like our lives and what we actually do as parents with our kids, and try to like put that into like a 30-second ad, it's like that's how we're trying to target people. And it's a little bit harder. It's definitely harder to like get traction, momentum, because it's almost like we're trying to convert parents into this lifestyle as well, instead of like, oh, we're just capturing everyone who's already here, you know? Because it's like, that's also a little bit easier, because parents that are already here that like love fitness, have that passion, whatever, they may not look at us and be like, oh, they're cool, I want to be like them. They might look at us and be like, those two are dorks. They have no business having a supplement company.
Which we don't.
They're not really in that good a shape or whatever. Like you could poke holes in everything.
But I think that's the point. That's the point.
We want to be real.
You gotta be real.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of the fake stuff.
We don't, like, I've got crazy stretch marks from all my kids, right? I've got saggy skin, saggy arms, whatever, right? And like all of those things, like we never try to hide that. And just like Chase said, like all of our messaging is stuff that we actually do. Like our ads are filmed in our house, which is a little outdated, right? Because that's what we live in. Like this is exactly what we do. And I think that
it's definitely cleaner than it normally
it definitely was cleaner.
It's nice when you got to film, because then it gets clean.
That's right. That's right.
And then it quickly spirals.
I always tell my wife that I'm like it when your dad comes over, because you clean the house up real nice, and then we'll have him over every Sunday.
So every week we're getting a deep clean. Yeah.
But I think being true, and I think that it creates a stronger bond with your audience than anything else, is being as real as you are and being extremely dedicated to your authenticity, because you will find people that are like, whoa, that hit me. It's the whole reason, like the psychology behind a share of a reel to your wife is probably because you're like, this is you. Like, this is you, and it's funny because someone's making fun of you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like our reels and our posts and everything like that. It's the same thing. Is like, this is relatable. That's us. That's me waiting for you to come home from the gym so I can go. Those kids are about the same age as our kids, and they're saying and their messaging is exactly what we believe. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is really being who you are, because no matter what it is, you will find that audience. That is the tricky part, is finding the audience, but they will come. It's just a matter of being you. And I think too often people try to be someone else. Like,
because
we're
it'll
not,
capture attention.
and that's been a lot of our struggle as well, is like, I told Chase, I said, you aren't Chris Bumstead. You aren't, you aren't Nick Bear. You're not these influencer-esque people who had a following.
As much as I want to look like either of them, really.
But
pull off a Slim Shady lookalike, I'll give you that.
I don't know if that's like a good thing, though.
He's like, he's pretty respectful. He's pretty real. That's the real.
No, he is
real.
That's the real Slim Shady.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you
kidding.
say Slim Shady, I think of like, will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
Oh.
And I think like the bleach blonde hair, and I'm like,
The
but
90s.
like if you say like Eminem
Today,
currently,
current
yeah,
market
like
matters, yeah.
that's
He's
not
pretty
bad.
cool.
Got the
Yeah,
full
he's got a
beard.
good
Yeah.
scruff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you look at him now, and you're like,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you want to say about him, he looks respectable.
I mean, that's the thing, is like people respect real, right?
Yeah.
That's where you guys are getting, like, being authentic, especially with so much fake people out there online right now. Like, it's so easy to sniff out too.
Oh yeah.
That I think that the difference between like just getting a customer versus a loyal customer is that authenticity, and then like if they can really see themselves in your story.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and I think that's like, you know, as much as Chase wishes he was C-Bum or Nick Bear,
He's too
it's
big.
like they aren't.
Give me Cameron Haynes. I'll be Cameron Haynes. Like that's.
Yeah.
I don't know
But,
who
like,
Cameron Haynes is.
Oh, is that book? He's a
Oh
hunter.
yeah, okay.
He's a marathon runner.
Wait, yeah, no, I think I've seen him. Not like I didn't know his name, but
You know
He's a
who he
yeah,
beast,
I
yeah.
know who he is.
But you know, like that is part of our marketing as well. Is like Chase is an influencer who then teamed up with a supplement company or started a supplement company. It was, I'm an everyday dad that's seeing a need in the market that other parents are also going to see once they get to this kind of this level of like, I want to take better care. I want to do all these things. And so the point really was like Chase isn't an influencer and he really actually hates doing the influencing and social media stuff, right? And we both kind of dislike it. And that's kind of the next step for us is that someone else can fill that role. But you know, the whole point is that we're just parents. We're normal, regular people who aren't like putting crazy stuff out there to get likes and views and all of this stuff. It's just we're parents who wanted something better that was geared towards us, and we didn't find that out in the market. We found great and we found great products. Don't get me wrong, but there was nothing out there that really was like, this speaks to us. This is what gets me through this, and this. And that's really where it came from, was that we wanted something that was created by everyday parents for everyday parents that wasn't like this whole like, oh, we're going to we're going to team up with these huge companies and that I mean, sure, would we love to do that? Of course we would. But
yeah, the goal is to grow, right?
Is,
and
yes, like of
be
course,
a household
but
name.
like for us, our goal is first of all just like hitting the everyday parents that we know. And that's like why we do the whole gym thing where it's like these are people we know and we just want them to understand our product. Yeah. It's not like this whole thing of like we're going to hire all of these like crazy influencers to push our product. No, actually one of the biggest requirements for an influencer or a collaboration for us to happen is that they have to try the product and they have to like it. If they don't like it, that's okay. Please be honest with us. But like maybe we can work together in other capacities, but you won't be repping our product. And that's not to say you can't take it or whatever, but you have to genuinely have a good experience with it for us to want to work together just for that reason. Is like we don't want these people out here saying like take this stuff, and they don't take it.
It comes back to your point of like it's so easy to like sniff out fake because it's like obviously and we're also looking for athletes that are parents that understand the demand of like balancing fitness with your wife and your kids and their fitness goals too. And so it's like one, getting someone who like understands that instead of like, oh, I'm a single guy who's just shredded. It's like, well, like good job, right? But it's like you don't really understand the demands.
You spend 3 hours at the gym. I have like 45 minutes.
And you buy all your meal prep things and you just pull them out of the fridge. Like you don't have to like cook a meal for you and your kids and try to keep it healthy.
Factor Meals.
Yes, please. Could you please reach out to us?
Yeah, but right, and so it's like, and to what Kassie said, where it's like, if they come back and I say, hey, like every person that we've sent like sample packs to or a bottle or whatever, I've tried to be as direct as possible without making them feel like, hey, tell me what I want to hear that you liked it because I sent it to you for free. It's like, I'm saying, hey, I want honest feedback. I'm not going to be offended, but how was the dosing? How was the efficacy? Like, how'd you feel? And it's like, please be honest because we can't get any better if you just lie, and tell me what you think I want to hear. And so when they come back and they're like, hey, wasn't for me because of flavor, or hey, everything was dosed perfectly, I didn't like the flavor, or flavor was good, but I didn't really like feel much because, they're used to more milligrams and kind of they like that more of that feeling or whatever. But yeah, like if they don't like it, I'm like, hey, thanks so much. Like, I really appreciate it. Leave an honest review and whatever. But like, I'm not going to say, hey, you want to be an affiliate or do you want to promote our product
we'll pay you.
It's like, I don't want people to promote our product because we're paying them, but they don't actually take it or like it. Because the people that come back and are like, dude, this was awesome. They're like, they get it. Like they're loyal to the brand at that point because they're like, I actually take this stuff. And you can see how much more genuine like their review or their story or whatever it is on the product comes through. Because you're like, they actually take it.
Yeah.
Well, and then it seeps into their following because
Mm-hmm.
now, because they like it and it works for them, these are typically people who are just like us. Like there's one guy that we've teamed up recently with who has a home gym and he coaches out of his gym. And it's like everyone who he trains is like, you know, our same demographic of like parents who are busy and all of that. So it's like, and he really liked it. So we're like, great. And then it kind of seeps into his following of people who fall into that same category. And that helps us a ton, right? But whereas we've reached out to another guy who's great and we love him, but he was like, this just isn't for me. And at first we were like, dang it, like, do we need to change our product? Like, are we doing something wrong? But really we realized like, this guy's not really in our demographic. It's okay if he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Because then if we were to push him and say, no, please, like, we'll pay you, just, you know, promote it to your crowd. I almost guarantee we would have had 0 to maybe less than 5 orders from him promoting it because it wasn't, his following wasn't going to be our demographic anyway.
Well, I also think that like it's a slippery slope when, you know, you take all the negative feedback and like, yes, to a degree, you need to kind of like analyze that and be like, okay, if everyone's kind of saying the same thing, then maybe that needs to become something that actually gets changed.
Right.
You know? But
You have to have a big enough study group.
yes, like sample
start making-
size, making changes. And I think, I mean, for us personally, I think the flavor's been the big issue of like mixed. Like some people are like, dude,
Love it.
this is so good. And other people are like, not for me. I like the sour flavor more.
Well, especially with taste, like it's going to be hard to get you can't please everybody on taste.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so it's
exactly.
like, okay, and then people that are like, I didn't really feel much, you know? And it's like, that's okay, you know? But does that push me to be like, hey, we need to change the formula and create, like, change this product? No, because it may not be for everybody. And we didn't design it to be this, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm feeling this crazy buzz right now.
Well, you're trying to hit parents that are like they want to get healthy for their kids, so they're not going to be the ones that are 400 milligram scoops
Exactly.
already. If they took that, they'd probably croak, you know.
Right. Well, and
Totally.
it's like they're not gonna like it anyways because they're like, this is way too much, you know.
Yeah.
And I've had people say like, oh, 2 scoops is too much, which is like 250 milligrams, and I'm like, dude, that's all I take is the 2, you know. Unless I'm like just gonna go for a run, I'll take 1 scoop. But so I think there's just the varying things, but like staying true to like the whole thing of like our brand of we're trying to be real and we're trying to just be ourselves. That product reflects that. It's us. Like this is the product that I would use, and it may not be for everybody to use, but like if you really understand the ingredients and like why we dosed it the way that we did, like you're gonna see like, oh, the point wasn't to be like jacked out of my mind, you know, on all this caffeine. It's like supposed to be this nice, like steady focus. And with the other ingredients, like pink Himalayan salt, you know, teocrine, a mento pump, like it's supposed to drive your workout, not be this sole proprietor thing of like how much caffeine's in it because that's my fuel. That's all I look at. And so, yeah, we're not gonna change it. Now, does that mean that like as we push forward and grow the business, that we don't have like a high stem for some of our other people that are like, I need just a little more, or people that are like, I don't like caffeine at all, but I like all your other ingredients, that we wouldn't come out with like a non-stem.
Right.
Because I think, yes, you can't like hit the market and please everybody, but can you have some other options for your still same niche crowd, but people that are like, I love your brand, I love what you guys do, I just wish I had a non-stem, that we wouldn't come out for something for still our same crowd, just people that have like a different preference.
Yeah, because then it just gets impossible to grow if you have too many SKUs.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's the best spot for people to like follow you guys or order or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So lcsups.com, like that's our website. So you can go on there and, you know, there's 15% off when you sign up for like SMS and email, which is a nice little discount. We also have subscribe and save. So if you just get it on reoccurring, which has different options of, you know, when you want it to charge and whatever, that saves you, I think it's like $5 off the pre as well. We will be coming out with creatine, which I think is like the most important supplement to have anyways. That'll be probably here in the next couple months around like Black Friday. We'll be launching that as well. And it'll be kind of like a stackable thing. But yeah, LC Sups, you can find us there.
All of our social media is the same too. So
Yeah.
all of our tags are LC Sups.
Yep.
So Instagram, TikTok, all the fun places.
So yeah, come check us out.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, thanks for coming on, and this has been sweet. I mean, there's not a lot of people that can relate, so when you can talk to people that can relate, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us, man. I hope we didn't bore you or go off the rails on so many like different topics that are like unrelatable.
No, I hope that we can. I mean, I'll chop this all up, and then that's the way we can send it out to everybody. I mean, it's a good cause, whether you have an autistic kid or not. You have kids.
Yeah.
You need to get in shape. So
Just being a parent, take care of yourself.
Sure.
yeah. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, man.